talk about the conflict on the planet Nibiru, and I will show you the links. I'm gonna discuss why I have this attitude towards the nation, the state of Israel, why I despise the king uh, Marduk, Mordechai, why I talk about him all the time, and why he is the enemy of God. Talked about the subject, but I'm gonna reveal some shocking facts. This this will probably taking a big risk now. Maybe I'm gonna lose some subscribers. I don't know what YouTube will do to me after that with this video. So this is very sensitive issue. I need to talk about it, and why I see what's going on in the world. It's very, very wrong. Let's start from the beginning. We know that we have some links to know like these deities in the Sumeria and their equivalent, what they are called in modern time. We talked about the conflict on the planet Nibiru, who will inherit the throne on the planet Nibiru. And I'm gonna show you some text we're gonna read together. This text is actually a good one, and we're gonna switch and I'm gonna show you the links, and yeah, we must do that. So we have this one, chapter 4, part 1, Origins, War and Peace on Nibiru. It was made August 31, 2017. So the origin of Nibiru and its people, 2.5 million years. Around the same time that the Maldek-Mars wars. We go back to planet Mars, and they had this war, and they have war between the planets. The Anunnaki were getting into some trouble over in the Orion sector. We talked about the conflict between Sirius and Orion. So we go back to the Orion Wars. They created a race from a union between the leaders of the Federation and the Empire. And from the beginning, it was mandate to be leaders as well. The fact that they were eventually rejected by the galaxy, largely because of the reptilian side of their heritage, left with a pretty big chip on their collective shoulder. So we have the reptilians. We go back, talk about the reptilians race. And we have the Orion War finally did end and Tiamat. So we have Tiamat. I call her our mother, and that's because it's a great ocean, and this is where mother of all gods. And she mingled with her husband Anu, and this is where we got the gods. So Tiamat was we're gonna read. So when the Orion War finally did end, and Tiamat, who has her share of reptilian DNA. So now we say that the wife, the female, is a dragon or a reptilian DNA. She married to Sirius, the king, An, to settle down. They wanted to settle down this conflict, and he married a reptilian, took a reptilian dragon as his wife. So here also we can connect Orion with Tiamat. So Tiamat, our mother, she was called the Dragon Queen. So we have this dragon from Tiamat, dragon, reptilians, and stuff like that. So we continue reading. A Dragon Queen, for good reason, was given governorship over both our region of space as well as Orion. The Anunnaki were rightfully pissed off. So her children, Enki, Marduk, Mordechai, didn't like the situation. The bitterness festered. They wanted to rule. They don't want her to rule. The bitterness festered until, in an excess of hubris and stupidity, they launched. So the grandchildren of the Anunnaki, the fallen Anunnaki, the grandchildren of Tiamat, who was Earth, like a planet, they attacked their grandmother, but they were defeated easily because Tiamat was much more advanced. It was called the Dragon Queen, of course. They had no chance. So Tiamat could have easily wiped out the Anunnaki, but she's both enlightened and merciful ruler. I am using the present tense here to refer to Tiamat because she's still around. So he believed in the female goddess. This writer is alive. He say gods cannot die. Jesus Christ cannot die. He resurrected. And also our mother in heaven didn't die. King An, her husband, didn't die. Kingu, the leader of her army, didn't die, but he became the moon. And from his blood, the Homo erectus were created. When Kingu was killed, God was killed to create Homo erectus by Marduk Mordechai. So we go back to text. Tiamat, she's still around, and she's offered a peace settlement to the little warrior dwarfs. So the Anunnaki were bigger than us, 12 to 14 feet tall, but the Tiamat army and her race of dragon, human hybrids, reptilians, were 50, 60 tall. Part of the peace treaty was symbolic marriage between An. So actually, it is to settle down the conflict. The leader of the Anunnaki and Tiamat, their genetic materials were mixed to create maybe a laboratorium, to create 12 crossbreed children. 6 male and 6 children were 30, 50 feet tall. So the, half of this was what was before, some kind of 30, 35 feet tall, and had both reptilian and humanoid attributes. Now we got the mixture between the humans and the reptilians in one race. Their children were gifted to An to be his loyal servants, and their descendants would become the Igigi, the giant worker race of the Anunnaki. Some of the creatures from Greek history was descended from the Igigi, such as Cyclops and the 100 hands ones. Over in our neck of the woods, the Maldek Mars Wars was at the end, but the system was still in trouble. Up until this time, our system had actually been a binary star system, as are many solar systems. Binary star system meaning the sun, like Earth, has a twin planet. Like we have 2 Earths, 2 moons, 2 suns, and stuff like that. As are many solar systems that have life-sustaining planets, and this resulted in a higher vibrational state that currently exists. However, the vibration of the consciousness grid in Soul, this is the sun that Nibiru circulate each 3,600 years, had become so lowered by the trauma of war and destruction of Maldek. Maldek is a planet that become destroyed with the war planet. There was a vibrational incompatibility between the consciousness of the system as a whole and the energy of the binary suns. It was basically just too much light for the darkness of that time, and there was great danger that the dissonance could eventually lead to imbalance great enough to cause disaster. To help correct this imbalance, for which they were partly responsible, engineers from Pleiadians arrived to help save the day, working in the 6th density. They lowered the vibration of our second sun, siphoning of energy and plasma, and using it to create 2 other heavenly bodies. With the raw material taken from the second sun, they built a blue dwarf star, 𝑒l. Of course, 𝑒l. We have also 𝑒l, and rotating around it a reddish planet with a molten core that will become known as Nibiru. So this is how Nibiru came through. They take in the material from the second sun, and they build 𝑒l, rotating around it. The red and blue heavenly bodies would also become known as the red Kashina and blue Kashina by the Hopi people.
they set Nibiru and Elnin in a long elliptical orbit, swinging around the dual foci of Sol and another star far outside our solar system once every 3,600 years. Our original second sun became the planet we call Saturn. So that's why we have this worship to the planet Saturn, because it was actually Saturn who was worshipped after Uranus. We have Uranus, and then we have the planet Saturn, and then we have the planet Jupiter. We talked about this one. Uranus is Anu, and Saturn is Cronus, his son of Uranus, and then we have the son of Saturn, the son of Cronus, that is Zeus, that is Jupiter, Yahweh, Jehovah. There are many myths in this ancient lore about Saturn once being our sun. It is still worshipped today as dark sun by various groups. So I know that people, they worship the dark sun. This is Saturn or Satan. So the Pleiadians engineers then crashed a couple comets on the crust of Nibiru and got some water and oxygen going. We know that the water on Earth, it came from Nibiru when it crashed into Tiamat, and the ice melt and become water on Earth. So Nibiru is the life bringer, the planet of life giving, that gave life to Earth. I mean life like water, and from water we have all these creatures, and we got some water and oxygen going. So water and oxygen, and resulting, that's why we have this life on Earth, because Nibiru crashed in Tiamat. So Nibiru, without Nibiru, we would not have life on Earth, no water, no oxygen. So Nibiru got some water and oxygen going, and the resulting atmosphere of Nibiru was held in a blanket of cloud and particulate blast forth from the continuously erupting volcanoes. We have volcanoes on Nibiru erupting, which also filtered the radiation from El Niño. So El Niño was giving radiation, and the volcanoes, they took that radiation away because they created what's called some kind of this effect. I don't know what's name in English, but maybe it's some kind of it create a humid climate, very, very warm, and a lot of rain. So this is due also, we have some discussion about it on Earth, planet Earth, because of the factories. They produce a lot of smoke, and this smoke is resemble also the volcanoes. Although the volcanoes can produce much more of this stuff. Though Nibiru is not a watery planet like ours, it was made so that it could support oxygen-breathing life forms. So now we have oxygen creatures living on Nibiru. The star is at heart still generated enough heat internally. So the heat on Nibiru is from the crust, not from the sun. From the crust, they have own warmth from the planet, combined with the warmth from El Niño. El Niño, like the sun for Nibiru, it has some rays that is very bad for Nibiru. It was able to support life, even its first point from Sol. When it is very far from its sun, Nibiru, that is, it still can support life because they have heat internally. So they don't need the sun to have heat. And of course, they need to have heat. Otherwise, the planet, like planet Mars, will become very cold. So now they have oxygen, they have water, they have warmth, and they don't need the sun. Now, all that was needed for race people to inhabit the planet, just to happen, Tiamat knew just the folks who should go there, the Anunnaki. So by giving custodianship of the planet to the Anunnaki, she gave them something they wanted, governorship of our region of space. She also got something she wanted, a nice, out-of-the-way place to put the troublesome warrior race. So go to Nibiru, she said, and this is talking to the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki colonized Nibiru at the time it was still very far away from our solar system, closer to their home system of Sirius. Now we go back. I talked to you about Sirius' conflict with Orion, and King An was king of Sirius, and they had this conflict with the Orion, and even King Anu. I talked about King An. He hired mercenaries from the reptilian race to fight a war before he married the queen of Orion to settle down this conflict. So we read further, the intention was for the Anunnaki to become a group of warrior guardians who would keep an eye out for the kind of strife that he had so recently brought our system to the brink of collapse. So these warriors, guardian warriors, who could keep an eye for the kind of stuff, brought our system to bring collapse. Unfortunately, though, a result of their mixed genetic heritage, the Anunnaki already had a rift and resentments within their organization. So now the Anunnaki are not one race. Rift that had never really crossed since the inception during the Orion Wars. They have mingled, and they have this variety in the race of the Anunnaki as they travel through space and their new home getting closer to our own solar system, where the vibration had already been lowered by the casting out of Lucifer and his followers in the War of Heaven. So Lucifer here maybe is referring to Mordechai. We go back, and he was kicked out from heaven by the angel Michael, that is meaning Zida, Jesus Christ, the wise serpent. And by casting out Lucifer and his followers in the war of heaven, and all by suffering and destruction of the Maldek Mars wars. So a planet was destroyed in this war. These rifts and their culture widened into cracks. During the early days, the Anunnaki civilization on Nibiru became a culture divided against itself. So here becomes the war between North and South on planet Nibiru, with those more inclined towards their federation roots in the north and those leaned toward the ideas of empire in the south. The society that time resembled a mix of tribal, medieval, and space-age technologies, with warring royal families, castes, and swords and magic, as well as the various laser blasters and missiles that have survived down through the generations. So they had advanced weaponry, and they were waging war against each other, the south and the north. They had nuclear, they had weapons of great terror, that is referred. We remember Sodom and Gomorrah, and Lil, his son Ninutra, he struck his brother's son Marduk. He missed, he struck, so he destroyed a lot of Palestine, Israel, Jordan. We have the Dead Sea, it's dead. We have the desert is stretching to Libya in Africa. All suffered because of that nukes that the Anunnaki released on Marduk spaceport in Sinai, but missed. But Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed because of this nuclear attack. So, of course, this nuclear attack was authorized by King An, because Marduk, he wanted to steal the throne on Nibiru, and Marduk is son of Enki, Lucifer, and Lucifer, he married Damkina, the daughter of Alalu. And we have Alalu's grave on planet Mars with pictures. I showed you picture in a video before the last one. The use, we continue reading, the use of which was considered taboo by all the tribes. So used the nukes, and it was like a taboo. These nukes would survive down through the millennia, stored and preserved in status fields, and become shrouded in mysticism and myth. And some of them would eventually find their way down to our planet a couple million years later. So who brought the nukes to our Earth? It was Alalu. He stole the nukes. He took the nukes from the planet Nibiru, and then Enki, he stole them again, and then the Anunnaki, they struck Marduk with nukes. so-called Sodom and Gomorrah, exactly 4,000 years ago in 2024 BC, Sodom and Gomorrah was nuked by the Anunnaki. By the time Nibiru swung through our planetary system for the first time, the Anunnaki were in no shape to keep an eye out for everyone but themselves. And such would be the case for many generations to come. So they didn't care about nobody. So this is taken from the Lost Book of Enki, and we were discussing this. We read further. 775,000 years ago, for more than 1.5 million years, while life on Earth has been flourishing and slowly evolving under the gentle guiding hands of the Nakkals, life on Nibiru has been one of the repeated cycles of war, destruction, rebuilding, and then more of the same. So they were having a situation like we have on Earth: wars, destruction, and then they stop and they rebuild. Many cities have been built, destroyed, rebuilt, and destroyed again. Civilization has risen to heights and surpassed our current level of technology, and have also plunged back into the Stone Age from the wasting conflict. So when they wage war against each other, they annihilated using nukes and such weaponry, so they destroy, so they need to start from the beginning. But finally, there was peace. In unconsciousness repetition of their ancient origins as species, the two major tribes of the Anunnaki, one on the north, that is royal on the north, and the south. So royal, it is north from King An, and the south, and we read further, major tribes Anunnaki drew by lot one from the north, a man given the name and title An. Another repetition from ancient times. An was also the name of an ancestor who made peace with Tiamat. He married Tiamat. And Tiamat is also referring to Orion, that is a dragon queen. So An, King An, he married the dragon queen to settle down the conflict. And one from the south, a woman titled Antu, to be their king and queen and to establish one united royal bloodline. So he married the dragon queen from the south to settle down the conflict. A lot has changed in the Anunnaki culture by the time in the peace was reached. They had forgotten the connection to large cosmic brotherhood, and their origins on Nibiru has become shrouded in myth and legend. However, throughout the following several 100,000 years of peace and stability, they would regain much of what they had lost in terms of technology and consciousness. So they remembered how advanced they were, and they tried to get this advancement back. There were still some ancient nuclear warheads around, the weapons of great terror stored in status fields, the use of which was taboo as well, some computers and laser technology. So they had computers. We know that all this technology we have on Earth is from the Anunnaki. So all which we had become like holy relics, preserved and honored with ritual. Through studying these technology remnants, Anunnaki scientists were able to start progressing in the development of science and technology once again. So they have restored all what they have reached with scientific advancement, and the surrounding intergalactic community, who followed a policy of non-intervention at that time, left them to their own devices. It wouldn't be until the Anunnaki came and set up shop on Earth. So everybody was taking care of their own. They don't interfere with other planets. Like President Trump wanting to go to planet Mars, you don't interfere. But here, the Anunnaki, the chosen ones, you say the chosen ones from Nibiru, maybe Israel, they have some kind of, they want to do like their ancestors, the Anunnaki, they want to set up shop on Earth. They want to colonize Earth. And now President Trump, the chosen from Nibiru, the same Anunnaki bloodline, they want to colonize planet Mars. Many hundreds of thousands of years later, they would be reintroduced to the knowledge of their long-lost space family through the war with the Draco on the moon. So the Draco race was the extraterrestrial race. They had their base on the moon. And interaction with Nakas and Lord Sanat Kumara on Earth. So these guys were on Earth and they have colonized the moon, the Draco. But at the time, as far as they knew, they were alone in the universe. So we go now to 497,000 years ago. The Anunnaki civilization was in trouble. The cold times of the planet was getting colder, and the hot time is hotter because so it becomes extreme, very cold and very hot sometimes, and very hot and very cold because of the breach in the surrounding atmosphere. They got like this ozone, and there was a breach, and now they cannot have this some kind of a jacket, like some kind of warm clothing, not to allow cold to penetrate the atmosphere on Nibiru because it is have been breached like the ozone on our Earth. We need to have some kind of something to protect from the cold and even from the sun, from the warm and from the cold. But when they have this hole in their ozone, they have both cold and warm weather. This is because the volcanoes that have been generating the particle matter that had to seal in the atmosphere. So when you have ozone hole, you have a breach in the ozone, you need to have the volcanoes ongoing to repair the atmosphere. So they did that, but the volcanoes that was repairing the atmosphere and filtering the radiation finally was dying out. So the volcanoes, they have energy, but then they cannot last forever. So the heat from the molten core had fueled the volcanoes for a long time. So they had ongoing volcanoes, and it was used like some kind of balancing the weather, the temperature, but then the volcanoes, they dried out. They don't have much inside them. They were failing. So crops were failing, no food, and infertility has begun to spread among the people, including the corona. So you don't have food, you cannot have this intercourse, you cannot have children. So people, you cannot eat, you cannot have this, you cannot have children. The chain of lineage that descended down from An, king of Sirius, and Antu, his wife, was broken. So now people are dying instead of procreating. Duru and Dauru adopted a child named Lahma, who inherited the throne. So now we have on the throne, on Nibiru, adopted child that is not royal. Understand? Because the royal bloodline is very few. Because they were dying, they had problem with the very cold, very hot. Like you're living in a desert, and then you're living in the North Pole or South Pole. So people start dying, and those who are royal bloodline, they were very, very few. So who's gonna be king on Nibiru? They said, okay, let's adopt a child named Lahma. That is the first king that is not royal on Nibiru. You see, they need to have a king that is royal bloodline, but they don't have one. So that was the broken chain of lineage between An and Antu, and all the time An and Antu, their children were like kings on Nibiru, but then the people start dying, and not many from that lineage was left. So Duruhu and Dauru, these two are bloodline, but they didn't have own children. So who's gonna inherit after them? They choose Lahma. So in the region of of Lahma, two solutions to the declining atmosphere was proposed. So now Lahma, he needs to fix the atmosphere. The first, that gold. Now they need to collect gold from all planets to repair the atmosphere, the ozone on their planet. So they mined from the Hamred bracelet, the asteroid belt that was once Maldek. So now the planet Maldek exploded. They were destroyed probably by nukes, and it left something called the Hamred bracelet. It has been found was the only mineral that could be ground fine enough. It would stay suspended in the atmosphere, acting as a chill. So then now you're gonna collect some gold from the Hamred bracelet. Our two, the nuclear warheads been launched into dormant volcanoes. So nuke the volcanoes. Imagine that President Trump, he go and nuke Yellowstone to fix the weather. Nobody will accept that. Of course, it sounds crazy, but they did it on Nibiru. They launched a nuke to the volcanoes in attempt to reignite their eruptions. When the volcanoes are ongoing, they fix the weather. 🀭War was indecisive and weak-willed, though. So 🀭War was not fixing the problem, heeding only his wife's advice that should pray to the great creator of all. So they're gonna pray, but it's not enough, people. They were just praying. 4 shards. Every shard is 3,600 years. The Nibiru one of which equals 3,006 years each, went by, and the unrest in population only grew as the deprivation and blight got worse. So 14,000 years on Earth, they had this problem. Eventually discussed by 🀭War, lack of action, one prince called 𝀭Lalu. Now we have imposter. We have somebody who claimed to be royal, but actually not. This is 𝀭Lalu. This is the grandfather of Mordechai, the enemy of God in the Old Testament Bible. This is 𝀭Lalu who gave his daughter to Enki Adonai, Lucifer. And Daminka, his daughter, was married to Enki, Lucifer, and they got Mordechai. Marduk then got Nabu. But Marduk here is why we talking about the subject, because Marduk is the enemy of God, and we have his name written in the Old Testament Bible. We don't have 𝀭Lalu's name written in the Old Testament Bible. We have Marduk, this name written in the Bible. So we continue reading. Eventually discussed by 🀭War, lack of action, one prince named 𝀭Lalu decided to take the throne for himself. He said like that. For the first, ����War is not royal, all right? He was on throne on Nibiru. He didn't fix the atmosphere. He is not fixing anything. And I'm just a guy, and I'm not royal. So I can take the throne and I can fix the atmosphere of Nibiru. So why not? So he decided to take the throne for himself. So what did he do? He led a band of fellow princes and soldiers who stormed the place, and ����War was thrown. And he thrown to his death from the highest tower by 𝀭Lalu. So 𝀭Lalu, he killed a king of Nibiru, but that king was not royal. You see, you cannot kill a lord because this is royal against the law on Nibiru. But because 𝀭Lalu, he knew that ����War was not royal bloodline, so he killed him and he took the power. So that was an imposter. So because ����War was chosen by the royal who didn't have children, the man and the woman, they got adopted ����War, and 𝀭Lalu, he knew that this is not royal, so I kill him and I take the throne. So this is why ����War was thrown to his death from the highest tower by ����Lalu, who incidentally was an incarnation of Lucifer. 𝀭Lalu, Lucifer, Adonai, Enki. So, of course, this is Anu. You see he has no beard. And this is Alalu. You see his face up and down, but you see the beard where Anu is putting his hand on the beard of Alalu when they have this wrestling match. So you see Anu, he has no beard. He is source of life. He cannot age. So even though Lahma was largely despised, there was much turmoil caused by the murder of the king at the hands of the usurper. And Alalu was brought before the council that they could question him. Although Alahma was not succeeding in fixing the atmosphere on Nibiru, he was they thought that the murder of him, the killing of him is not good at all. So Alalu, he was brought to the council like some kind of government, so they could question him. Alalu claimed the right of kingship because he was descended from An. So they counselled the government, they said to Alalu, what have you done? You have killed a king on Nibiru. You need to be judged. He said, no. Lahma was not royal. I'm royal. I'm from King An, from Sirius. I have the royal bloodline from An through the firstborn son of King Anshargal. He claimed he was royal bloodline. This ancestor was sealed on a concubine too and had lost. So he said that it was a concubine, though it had lost his right to the throne when the law of seed with the most royal genetic material inherit supplanted the law of successions. The firstborn son inherits many shares go during King Anshargal region. So he said you lost who is royal and who is not when you created the law of seed, and there was some kind of mix with the genetic, what is royal and what is not. They mixed and that's why they lost him, and they didn't know he was royal from King An. Alalu claimed that this implementation of the law of the seed was cruel manipulation by Queen Kishargal. So they did some kind of a law that determined who is royal and who is not. So Alalu, he found himself not royal, but he was royal, but the law was harsh on him. The law, like they said, you need to have multiple relatives in the King An family to be royal. Not like you need to instead to be like, I have a cousin in King's An royal family. Now you need to be like a child of a child from King An. Understand? So Alalu claimed that the implementation of the law of the seed was cruel manipulation of Queen Kishargal, who was the king's own half sister, a law which she pushed forward so that her son would inherit. So some kind of a queen, she made a law, she wanted her son to be king. It was Alalu's argument that he must inherit the land and restore the nobility of the line of An. He claimed he was from An. Also, though he had a beard, and we saw that this is cannot be royal. We talked about this one, the chosen ones from Nibiru. They cannot have beard. The Anunnaki bloodline, they cannot have beard. We don't have a King Anu depicted with the beard. This is very important. This is because he is source of life, and of course, we read further upon hearing this another prince named Anu. So upon hearing this another prince named Anu stepped forward, also claiming he was descended from An through his youngest son Unuru. He also claimed the right to the throne. So now we have two guys claiming they are from King An, and both they wanted the throne on Nibiru. We have King Anu and we have Alalu. Both claims they are from King An. They will must debate and indecision with the council's government siding about half and half. So some kind of election, and both got 50%. But then Alalu proposed solution. He embraced Anu as brother. So he said to Alalu, he said to Anu, "You are my brother. Let me be king, and you will be my. You can work with me, and we are both from An. So if Anu would let Alalu be king, then Alalu would make Anu the heir. So if Alalu cannot proceed on the throne, King Anu, he will become king on the throne, on Nibiru. They agreed. So King Anu, he said, okay, let's do that. I'm number second, I'm number two, and you are number one. They agreed, and Alalu proclaimed that Anu would be his cupbearer and crown prince. So Anu becomes a prince, king becomes the prince. And to further cement the union, it was decreed that Alalu's daughter would be married to Anu's son. Now we go into this detail, most important detail. Alalu, he has a daughter called Daminka. So Daminka, of course, this is the daughter who will marry, who's Anu's son? Enki, Lucifer, Adonai, Elohim Adonai. He married Alalu's daughter. So sorry, Alalu's daughter, people. Alalu's daughter married Enki. They got Marduk, Mordechai, the enemy of God, mentioned in the Old Testament Bible. Alalu, daughter, married, she was given to the son of Anu, Enki, Lucifer, Adonai, and they get Marduk, Mordechai, that is mentioned in the Bible. Even Enki is mentioned as God in the Old Testament Bible, but Marduk is mentioned as the enemy of God in the Old Testament Bible. So now we have Enki, son of Anu, in the Bible, Old Testament Bible. Enki is called Lucifer, Adonai, Alalu, and Enki, Adonai, Lucifer, same family with the Marduk. All these people claim they want to have the throne on Nibiru, and they have we have Alalu as king on Nibiru. Alalu became king and ordered the construction of fleet mining vessels. They were to bring back the gold from the asteroid belt, but he underestimated the danger of attempting to mine gold. So they sent astronauts but the astronauts, they didn't come back. They were stuck in space. So fleet was mostly destroyed by the hammer burst. The asteroid belt formed from the shattered remains of Marduk. He tried the second time, and some of the weapons of great terrors, nuclear weapons taken, launched to the volcanoes in the hope that they fix the atmosphere. Again, imagine that President Trump, he nuked Yellowstone to fix the weather. But these two failed, and 9 long shards of Alalu, like 3,600 years, multiplied by 10, you have 36,000 years. Take minus 3,600 years. It's about 33,000 years on Earth, and they had this problem. 33,000 years, people. A time of increasing discontent and suffering, during which the people only receive history of failing to save them. So they didn't like Alalu. He failed to fix Nibiru's weather. They had this suffering. Finally, convinced he must step up to save people, Anu challenged Alalu. Let's have a wrestling match, Alalu, and the one who wins, he will take the throne on Nibiru. Both men were skilled warriors, and the battle was long, but eventually Anu won. So Alalu, fearing he would suffer the same fate as despised 🀭War, so he thought, okay, maybe Anu will kill me, whom he himself had murdered, and I have killed 🀭War, then maybe Anu will kill me. So he fled out from the city to the spaceport where he launched his ship into the star. So yeah, that was a long read. Uh, just some links to make a connection. We have this link here talking about Marduk. You see that Marduk Mordechai is from, actually, it's a Hebrew name. So here you see people, Mordechai. Mordechai or Mordechai is a Hebrew name meaning the servant of Marduk. So these Hebrew names they call this is Marduk. This is Marduk. You see here the god Marduk, and we have Marduk from the Bible. I will punish Marduk. So you see now you connect people. Understand? Marduk. I will punish Marduk. This is in the Bible. So I show the links, you understand. Jeremiah 51, 44 to 46. I will punish Marduk, the god of Babylon, and make him vomit out everything he gobbled up. The nation will no longer bring him gifts. The Babylon was crumbled. So, of course, this is very sensitive to have Marduk from Nibiru in the Bible. So, yeah. So here we have some comparison to understand, and who is who. And of course, I'm showing the links, people. This is very sensitive information. I don't know what we're gonna do. People who believe in Marduk, worship Marduk, and of course, is God, enemy of God, and God Elohim. This is the link, people. In other words, Al Elyon is a Jewish equivalent of Uranus, El is Kronos and Lil, and Yahweh is a Jewish equivalent of Zeus, Marduk. So this is, people, this is Yahweh, people. This is Yahweh, okay? You know how Yahweh looks like, all right? This is Yahweh. Yahweh is son of Enki. Enki, son of Olal. Enki married daughter of Alalu. Enki is royal because he is from Anu. And this guy is royal from Anu, but he has Daminka, the daughter of Alalu, uh, as his mother. That is not royal. Understand? Uh, different. Royal bloodline and Marduk. Marduk is not 100% royal bloodline. His mother is Daminka from Alalu, and Alalu, he pretended to be royal. He was not. So we shot this one. So we have this Mordechai. You see here, Mordechai, Marduk is a servant of Marduk. This is Mordechai. We have here also this one. Uh, this one here. I'll show it to you. So these are good links. So yeah. Daniel 5. Elohim and Marduk, the final battle. So check this out. So this video, I need to finish this one, and we have a lot of understanding later on. Elohim and Marduk, the final battle. So Marduk was the enemy of Elohim, as we read in the Old Testament Bible.
So we go back here. We see here. In Daniel 5, the God of Israel's supremacy is shown in that he breaches and conquers Marduk, God surviving God's space, one Elohim, and Lil here, son of Anu, conquers the banquet hall as the last stronghold of Marduk. The conflict that started between them in Dan 1 is brought to an end. Marduk, appointed king, is killed and his power is given away by God of Israel. Who is God of Israel? Israel. Elil or Elil, son of Anu. That's why they got the name Israel. Like the Muslims, they got the Ismael, and Muslims, they worship El or Allah from El, original El, Ilu. So we read here that the God of Israel and Lil, he had this battle with the Marduk and his own way. So here we have it. We said that this is God of Israel, authority is universal. So we have this one people. These guys in Israel, with all respect, are worshipping the enemy of God. You see here, he put Yad Mordechai. You see here, Yad Mordechai. You go here, Mordechai or Mordechai, Hebrew name meaning servant of Marduk. This guy worshipping Marduk people. And I'm said to you, this is Marduk. Just don't look at his face more than 1 minute because you get hypnotized. And I don't do that. Especially, I don't look to his eyes. Lucifer, in other words, although Lucifer is Adonai, his father. So here we go back to this interesting face of Trump besides the king of Persia, Kirush, who worshipped the black god Marduk. So let's so Kirush here we have the Persian king who saved the Jews. He worshipped Marduk. So here we have it, people. Considering that King Kirush, the Persian king, gave credit to Marduk, and the Bible says it was Yahweh, how it is likely that they were same God? So now we have another. All right, we go to President Trump. President Trump coin. This is the one, people. They put him with the Persian king who worshipped the enemy of God, the Israelis. They did that. Trump, he said nothing. And he didn't even protest. So this, if you worship the devil, you are in hell. Who worshipped the devil? Marduk, the Persian king Kirush, and they put President Trump with him on one coin. This is the first mistake. Trump, he said nothing. They did that to him. The Israelis. Check this one. You see, this is President Trump, and who is behind him? Kirush, the one who worshipped Marduk Mordechai, the enemy of God. So they put Trump and they put the worshipper of the devil, temple coin, Kirush, Balfour, Trump declaration, 1917, 2017. So we check this one.
Check this, the coin. You see here? This is Trump and Marduk. This is the 7 planets they worship. So this is it. So Kirush, the Persian king, who did he worship? Marduk. Kirush worship Marduk. Just like that, people. Do historian archaeologists think that Cyrus actually worshipped Marduk? Considering that King Kirush gave credit to Marduk and the Bible says it was Yahweh, how is likely they're the same God? Of course, they're the same God. Kirush, the Babylonian and worshipper of Marduk. Kirush. So yeah. Now we're gonna check another guy. He's called Nebuchadnezzar. You heard talking about this one. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, worshipper of Marduk. So who is Nebuchadnezzar? Nebuchadnezzar is a believer of Marduk or Yahweh. Yeah, because Marduk and Yahweh are one and the same. This is how they fool you, people. You need to be wisen up. So, is Nebuchadnezzar the second a believer of Marduk or Yahweh? Strange question. Nebuchadnezzar became a believer in one God, that is Marduk, and his son Nabi, prophet. The collection, see here. The collection of wealth Nebuchadnezzar persisted in attributing victories over to nations to his god Marduk. Nebuchadnezzar, he worshipped Marduk Yahweh. He restoration of the temple of Marduk. So now, this is where you get the temples thing. Marduk, the chief god of Babylon in the time of Nebuchadnezzar. So what did Nebuchadnezzar do to the Jews? He got them exiled to Babylon, people. The enemy of the Jewish people. Nebuchadnezzar, he worshipped Marduk, Mordechai, Yahweh. So, Hebrew did not worship Yahweh at the Abraham time, they worshipped Enlil. Is it difficult to understand that one? Please, come on. Why are you pretending you're not understanding? Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, glorious prince, worshipper of Marduk, adorer of the lofty one. This is the Bible narrative how Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the king of Judah, besieged, plundered, and destroyed Jerusalem, and how took away the Jews in captivity, portraying him as cruel enemy of the Jewish people. Here's the link. This is Wikipedia, people. Nebuchadnezzar. This is Nebuchadnezzar. He worshipped Marduk and he was the enemy of the Jewish people. Because the Jewish people were worshipping the uncle of Marduk, Enlil, El. So when they took them to exile, they changed from the worship of Enlil, to worship of Marduk, his brother's son. And Trump is worshipping Marduk, Mordechai, not Enlil. And Israel today is worshipping Marduk, and Marduk has nothing to do with the promised land. Marduk has nothing to do with circumcision. Marduk has nothing to do with the Semitic people of Enlil. Now we have a problem here, people. You want to face the truth or you want to to lie, you will not go long with lying. Again, we read here. In other words, Al-Elyon is Jewish Uranos. Al-Elyon, Elon. ah, So it's Al-Elyon. El is Kronos and Lil. And Yahweh is Zeus Marduk, who is Enki is Lucifer. Enki is Lucifer. And Jesus is son of Uranos, our father in heaven, Uranos or Anu, the deity that's above and controls the dome. El Elyon corresponds to Sumerian Anu as well. So let's do this one. I'm not allowed to show it with voice. We're gonna read. If you're gonna do like this, maybe it's better slow motion. Maybe you're not allowed to do. So here we have. You do like this. Let me see here. This is the face on Mars. We were talking about before, and you see this kind of black face. With all respect to the blacks and black people, nothing against you, but Alalu is depicted on planet Mars. They have made this inverted colors. They discovered Alalu is black. He has the black skin, and he gave his daughter to Taminka to Enki, and he married, and they got Marduk. And we saw Marduk also. This again, with all respect to the black people, this is what is they are saying, not me. I am showing the links only. So nothing against the black people, nothing against the white people, all equal. But this guy on planet Mars that is Alalu is black. So here what they're gonna say here in the end. So face on Mars, Alalu short version. I didn't make this video. So here, black man, keep in mind there are Negroes throughout. So they mean that this video is interesting. Jesus names Father Anu 100 times with history. Although we're not allowed to show the audio, he was talking about the conflict between the North and the South on planet Nibiru. Davis Ross is the light worker, and he very famous, and I like to watch his videos very much. Much respect to David Ross. I'm not watching his videos anymore, but of course he said stuff that nobody else is there to talk about. So all respect to him. So here we have. So, yeah. So here. So hundreds of thousands of years down, this conception of king, and even down to this day, on this planet has been that the high king is a product of the northern kingdoms married to the high queen of the southern. So Sirius, king of Sirius, marry the queen of Orion, and the northern marry the dragon queen. King An marries Tiamat, or the dragon queen, to settle down the conflict.
So yeah, this is how they connect to Jesus Christ from King An royal bloodline. So yeah, this knowledge not many people they know about. And here this is again this is Trump with Kirush who worshipped Marduk. And we know that even Nebuchadnezzar, who took the Jews as hostages to Babylon, he worshipped Marduk, and the Jews now worshiping Marduk, who is Jehovah Yahweh. And this will be enough for today, I believe. This is Marduk. With all respect, we have Alalu depicted. We have Alalu, and we saw Alalu, and we saw this one. So yeah, hopefully that was not a lot of information in one video. Maybe need to pause and watch again and again. So this is a problem between me and the state of Israel. If you worship Enlil when the time of Abraham and he was fighting against Marduk forces, why are you worshiping Marduk now? How can you have two gods? You see, the circumcision is from Enlil. The hate for Marduk because of the bloodline on Nibiru, because Enlil is from Anu, and Alalu, he is proven he was, we didn't read the whole story, he was proven he was not royal bloodline. So King Anu, grandson of King An, was a bloodline, royal bloodline. And that's why he is the king of Nibiru forever, because they lost the bloodline, the royal bloodline, and they found it again. And Alalu, he was imposter. He killed a king on Nibiru, although this king was not royal bloodline, but Alalu was a killer. He got punished. He was exiled to planet Mars. He has his grave on the planet. And we saw the skin. And nothing against the black people, but talking about Alalu, and he had a daughter called Daminka, and she married Enki, who is bloodline, the son of Anu. Enki, also mentioned as Adonai and Lucifer. He married daughter of Alalu. Alalu, not bloodline royal. They got Marduk. So now Marduk is Nibiru bloodline, but not 100%. So he is not allowed to be king on Nibiru because he married, his mother is not royal bloodline. That is King Anu, his royal bloodline, he's king on Nibiru. The real battle is who to be king on Nibiru, not king on earth. Because the king of Nibiru be automatically the king on earth. Because, understand, kingdom of God, Nibiru, our Father in heaven, Uranos, Anu, Father of Jesus Christ. So worship the real king, Anu, not the impostor, Alalu, or his grandson, Marduk, Mordechai, Jehovah. This is what I'm saying only. And this is what they are telling from the history, that the Jews worship Enlil, the son of the Most High Anu, to inherit. And I told you that the land between the two rivers, the Nile and the Euphrates, this region was meant to be ruled by the gods. That is, when I say the gods, the royal bloodline.
directly from the father Anu and Li. Not even Enki, because Enki's mother was the Orion drought queen, but Enlil's mother, she was Gaia, Earth. So now you see why the royal bloodline of Anu is the thing that determines who is to be king on Nibiru and the father of Jesus Christ. Not Marduk, not Yahweh, not Jehovah, but Anu. So hopefully you enjoy this one. Hopefully it's not little information. We're gonna comment on this video later on, but again, nothing against like people talking about bloodline here, royal bloodline and stuff like that. So blessings